Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be sharing some easy summertime recipes that incorporate baked chicken. These recipes include some low carb and gluten-free recipes, and I also have some options for vegetarians. The last time I was at Sam's Club, I noticed that they had a great deal on chicken breasts for $4. I was planning to create a video around that, but this time when I was at Sam's Club, they didn't have any of the prepared chicken pieces for sale, so instead I decided to go with a whole chicken. They are inexpensive at only $4.98, and they make creating dinner a breeze. There are, of course, lots and lots of recipes that you can make using this baked chicken, but in this video, I'm just going to concentrate on summertime recipes and recipes that are easy to make with very little cooking involved. I also wanted to mention that I spotted these food storage containers for $9.98, and they come with 28 units, and these are microwavable, and you can put them in the freezer as well. So I thought that was a great deal, and I hadn't seen those at Sam's Club before. So we're going to go ahead and start with my chicken, and I'm going to start by cutting off the breast. For my purposes, I'll be using this chicken to feed one person individual sized portions. I'll be using half of the breast for one meal and the other half for another meal. And for the first recipe, I'm going to make chicken street tacos. If you've ever been to Mexico before, then you probably are familiar with the street vendors who make these delicious tacos. These are unique in the fact that they only have 4 ingredients. They have the corn tortillas, your choice of meat, cilantro, onions, and then a salsa. They're usually topped with a squeeze of lime and sometimes guacamole. Using the pre-baked chickens are a great choice for these chicken street tacos. And for this, I'm just going to quickly toss these in some oil, heat them up, and so they're still pliable, but it's going to change the texture a little bit. Each taco has 2 shells. We're just going to use the chicken that I heated up in the toaster oven for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to start layering the tacos. I cut up some onions and cilantro. These street tacos can be made either with steak or with pork or with chicken, but they're really tasty. If you've never tried them before, they're a completely different taco experience from the regular tacos that my family eats, you know, with like the ground beef and lettuce and tomatoes and cheese. But these are very good, and they are popular where I live here in Southern California. If you've got a family and you're trying to stretch this meat out further, you can always put whole beans underneath the chicken and you'll be able to get twice as many servings. You could also serve these alongside a pot of rice and use the tomato chicken bouillon to give it a little bit of flavor, and then make a pot of beans and mash up the beans. So serve it with some refried beans and rice on the side, and this will make your chicken spread out a lot further. These tacos were really good. I gave them to one of my sons, and he liked them so much that the next night he ended up making them for his brother and used most of my chicken breast. So I had to go to the store, and this time I had to spend $12 on the chicken because I got it at Ralph's here in Irvine, but that was a lot more expensive than the $4.98 at Sam's Club. For my next recipe, I'm going to be making Asian chicken salad, and this is something that is near and dear to my heart because, as you know, I love the flavor of sesame, which is going to be a key component in our dressing. I picked up this tricolor coleslaw from Sam's Club for $1.98. One of my viewers, her name also is Michelle, pointed out to me that she uses this coleslaw for a chicken salad, and I thought, what a great idea, because it is a good bargain for $1.98 for the entire bag. And I'm going to be using my chicken breast and some celery, some cilantro, some carrots, and some green onions. I also just happen to have these sliced almonds that I picked up at Sam's Club, so you'll probably be seeing those in a few recipes lately because I'll be using those up. But certainly if you don't have those are one of the more expensive items in the dish. You can go ahead and pass on those. This meal is delicious with the crunchy wonton strips. So if you have the wonton wrappers, basically you just chop those up and fry those and add those to the top of the salad, or anything else that's crunchy. If you want to add tortilla strips, I embrace fusion cooking, so anything that tastes good is usually what I'll make for us. The dressing is the key to the deliciousness in this recipe, and I'll be using sesame oil, rice wine vinegar, low sodium kikkoman, soy sauce, a little bit of honey, and I believe ginger, and that's about it. I'm going to place the recipe for this in the description. I cut this, I believe, in 1/4 because I was just making one serving. I ended up getting a bigger thing of the sesame oil at H Mart and then putting it in my Lee Kum Kee sesame oil container that I already had. I know I've been looking for a good bargain price on the larger quantities of sesame oil because if you watch my channel, you know that I really dig sesame oil. I think it's good on pretty much everything, but the only place that I've been able to find it in a really large quantity is at Costco for business members, and I don't believe they sell it in their warehouse. It's for delivery for restaurants, so I haven't been able to get my hands on that. Plus I don't have a Costco card and haven't figured out a way to get that yet. But if anybody else knows of another good place to buy it in bulk where it's less expensive, please do leave me a comment below, because I do eat a lot of sesame oil, and sesame oil can be expensive. I don't use it to fry with, I just use it for flavoring. And so again, it is a key component in this recipe and makes the salad delicious. Now, I gave this salad to my son, and he said it was the best salad that I've ever made. I think it's pretty much because he loves the sesame oil and it's just super delicious. I found a red pepper in my fridge that I went ahead and chopped up to use with this. Here's him trying the salad, and he added a few chopped chives, I think, to the top of it as well. But the key ingredients for this, for me, were the cilantro, the celery, and that red pepper was really, really good, along with, again, the sesame dressing. But this makes your chicken spread further. So picking up that inexpensive bag of coleslaw was a great tip. So I definitely recommend using that for an easy weeknight meal with very little cooking involved. For my next meal, I'm making nachos. My family loves these and I make them a variety of ways. I like trying new cheeses with this dish, but in today's video, I'm just going to be making black bean chicken nachos and I'll be using shredded chicken for this one. I love this dish because it really helps to make your chicken spread further, and you can make the nachos into an entree meal with the addition of the protein and some black beans. For my meal, I'm just going to be using canned black beans. I love having these on hand because if you decide to make a meal last minute, you can just grab a can of black beans and you're good to go. But if you're trying to save money, obviously dry beans are the way to go. There are lots of other parts of the chicken where you could have had the dark chicken meat and you could shred that as well. But for my purposes, I'm just using the chicken breast. Sometimes at Sam's Club, they'll have these tortilla chips for $1 off. And when they do, I'll pick up a few bags of these and have these in the pantry. And I don't tend to overeat these. Like if I had a bag of Doritos, I would probably just keep stopping by, nibbling on them until the whole bag is gone. But I tend to do okay with just regular tortilla chips. But sometimes I'll make my own tortilla chips because sometimes I just prefer these. I made the chicken nachos for my son and I ate the version on the right there. And I really enjoy these. Last week I made these nachos and this time I used the tortilla chips and refried beans, and I put the refried beans on the bottom and then topped it with a little bit of sharp cheddar and topped it with lettuce and tomatoes. I love to top it with big chunks of romaine lettuce with tomatoes and then pour the La Victoria over the top because that makes it really filling and crunchy at the same time, and it's just kind of one of my favorite Saturday dinners. Next up, I'm making Asian spring rolls with chicken. I've made these on my channel before with just the vegetables, but in this segment I'm going to be adding chicken. When I made these on my channel, I basically just didn't have either tofu or chicken in stock. I do have both in my house right now, so I'm going to go ahead and make both versions. Some people like to add shrimp as well. I just have different ingredients here that are cut up, but I like to use carrots and cucumbers in mine, and then mint and cilantro, but certainly you can add anything that you want. I've also added in rice noodles. Usually if I'm making this at home, I'll make half with rice noodles and half with bean sprouts, but this time I'm just going to be using bean sprouts, mint, cilantro, and the vegetables. And then I'm using this rice paper this time. I got this at H Mart, and it is much bigger than the sheets that I was using in the past, but I do like the idea of using a larger one because my family loves these so much, and I have to be constantly rolling these and wrapping these up, so I like the idea of having a larger wrap. These rice papers are great if you've never worked with them before. You can also make a mango mint dessert wrap. My girlfriend actually had a dinner party at her house one night with her and her husband, and she served this as a dessert, and it was really, really good. A lot of people add, mango with the mint along with a little bit of cabbage and then dip it in a Thai peanut sauce, so that's really good. But here I'm using the chicken, and this chicken I placed in the George Foreman for just a minute just to get it to the right texture that I wanted it. And I'm gonna put these aside for my son, and I'm kind of curious actually which one he's gonna like better, because both of my boys grew up eating the tofu, and even though they both are meat eaters, they just really like tofu in this particular dish. Another thing I was going to say on this is that I like to use dark green leaf lettuce on the outside. It really helps it to roll up nicer. If you're using the rice noodles instead of the bean sprouts, it's going to roll up much nicer. However, I really do like the crunch of the bean sprouts. I like these two sauces with my spring rolls. I was out of both of them, so I picked up the hoisin sauce, and I'm going to put a little bit in the silver bullet, and then the other one is the peanut sauce, and I've never tried this one before. This Sang Bangkok peanut sauce is actually my favorite, and I purchased that at Walmart. Obviously, you don't need both sauces, but I am a little extra like that. I do enjoy going back and forth between the two when I'm dipping my rolls. I get a lot of people asking me saying they don't know how to feed their kids because they need to feed them gluten-free and they just don't know what to do. If that is the case with you and your family, these rice rolls are something that you should be familiar with, because not only can you use them with these Thai spring rolls, but you can also make a ham sandwich with these. Just put the leaf lettuce on the bottom along with the mayonnaise inside the leaf lettuce, along with cheese, the ham, and then some tomato if you want, and then just wrap it up like a regular sandwich, and then that'll last for 2 days in the fridge. This is also a great meal for my diabetic and low carb viewers out there. I would just make sure that instead of the hoisin sauce, you find another sauce or make your own with a sugar-free substitute. I want to say a special thank you to the Attempted Homemaker and Kathy Enduro for the super thanks and support of my channel. I also want to thank every single one of you for watching my channel and your continued support. I do hope you liked this video. It was a little bit different, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.